Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we're starting things off in our witch farm perimeter, which as you can see, well, your boy has been pretty busy. How busy? Yes, is the answer. As you can see around me, we have absolutely cleared out this perimeter of most of the, all of the water, should I say, and we've even started digging things out, which we'll get into a little bit more detail of in a second, but let's start off with the main bit of the water. So I spent about 4 or 5 days, maybe a little bit more than that, clearing out this little bit of water here. As you can see, in some places, things are, some things are relatively not so deep, like in this area over here. And then obviously things get a little bit deeper when you come to little bits like this. And let me tell you, I was genuinely concerned at first, thinking this is going to be a huge project and going to take me a lot of time and I'm probably going to get frustrated with it. But if anything, I've realized is that I'm a lot more resilient when it comes to bigger projects than I thought. And that's actually probably good news, because the project that I'm undertaking right now is probably going to be quite a hell of a one, and mainly to do with the volume of things that I've decided to go with. So initially, when I started digging out this hole or clearing out this witch farm perimeter, as you can see from the shape of it, we're actually going for a circle perimeter as opposed to a square perimeter. Now, if I was doing square perimeter, things would be a little bit easier, because all I would have to do really is clear out some of the water and then dig some trenches, and then we could run a world eater around here. And a world eater would probably be the preferential thing to do when it comes to digging the perimeter. But me being the awkward person that I like to be, I decided I'm going to go for a circular perimeter because, squares are done. They've been had. Everyone's done square perimeters. There's no more fun in that kind of thing anymore. So instead we do a circular perimeter. Now, plan number one was originally to set up the circular perimeter, clear out all the water, and then hand dig the entire thing. I quite quickly realized, or was told, that that was a stupid thing to do and that I should probably reconsider doing that. So I have partially reconsidered doing that with an alternative plan, basically. So what we're doing now is, instead of hand digging the whole thing, which is, I'm going to be honest, I probably made the best decision to not to do that. But instead of hand digging the whole thing, as you can see from behind me, right on top of my head right there, we have got the Tnt Bomber. So let's head over and have a look at this thing. Now, obviously, if you guys have played this game, or even just a little bit about technical Minecraft, you've probably seen this machine before. This is a 3D TNT bombing machine. I think popularized by Razeworks. I'm not sure if he was the inventor of it, but definitely popularized by Razeworks. And we have already started digging in most of the perimeter. Now, as you can see here, there's not, considering the circular shape, there was actually a machine I found quite recently that actually probably could have dug up most of the perimeter with the machine, but it required a little bit more of a setup, and I just didn't really want to do that. So instead, what we're doing is we're trying to take out the majority of the circle that we can with the TNT machine, which actually is a pretty sizable amount. So you can see this bit runs up to here. At this point, obviously, I would have gotten too close to the walls and I probably would have destroyed a bit of it. But from that point onwards and that point onwards, we're probably going to be able to get all the way down to probably somewhere around here. So a huge amount of it will probably be bombed out by the Tnt Bomber. And then I think I'm probably left with a couple options. Option number one would probably be go ahead and do what my original plan was, which is to hand dig out anything that's left over from the perimeter that hasn't been bombed out. Or the second option really is probably just to bomb out the rest of the little bits over there with the flying machine, like take out as much of it as I can through another flying machine of the same type, and then maybe hand dig what's left over. Or I could just, again, like I said, just hand dig whatever's left over from this run here. Not 100% sure, I haven't made like a total decision on this yet, but I'm thinking maybe I'm probably just going to hand dig the little pieces that are left over. They shouldn't be all that strenuous to deal with. But if I start doing it and then I get bored and realize I don't want to do it anymore, then I will probably end up destroying most of what's left again with the TNT bombing machines. Not too concerned about that just yet, but it is something that I'm going to take into consideration. So as I work my way through the witch perimeter, there are some other projects that I have been doing or have done that, well, actually I forgot to mention a little while ago, and is actually one of the farms that I really wanted to get together for my brewing station. Now, obviously, if you guys have been following the series, you know that I have been working on a bit of a side quest called the Ultimate Brewery Mission, in which I basically wanted to gather all of the things I'm going to need to complete my brewery and have it kind of all together, so I've got every ingredient that I need to have the brewery running at full capacity or fully functional. So I actually had a farm again that I forgot to mention a little while ago that I want to showcase to you guys now, and that is, of course, as you probably figured out from the title at this point, the Pufferfish Farm. Now, this is a design I made a little while ago via Il Mango. It's basically a design that I saw of his. He didn't have a world download for it, so me being me, I thought I would have a little peek at myself and see if I could figure it out. I did eventually figure it out, so I think the best thing to do first of all is let's go into creative so I can give you a little peek at it first, and then we'll go have a look at the farm that I built in survival. So here we are in the creative test world for the Pufferfish Farm. Again, this is a design by Il Mango, basically just backward engineered by myself. And I made a few adjustments to his design actually just to make things a little bit more efficient and easier to build, but we'll get into that in a second. So the general concept of this Pufferfish Farm is pretty straightforward. You have the magma blocks underneath, which are creating the bubble columns which suck items down. So as of right now, if I place a pufferfish into the bubble column, you can see it will die pretty instantly, gets pulled right down to the bottom, RIP pufferfish. And yeah, so the essential point of this farm is exactly as you see, is to let the pufferfish or any type of fish, in this case it'd be pufferfish, cod and tropical fish, all spawn in this area and then be sucked down, destroyed, killed by the magma blocks, and then collected by the hopper mine carts. Obviously, as you can see here, if I go a little bit further up and try and AFK this farm from here as it stands right now, you will not get any spawns for pufferfish or any fish at all in this case, because the farm is the fish aren't actually able to spawn within the bubble columns themselves. So in order to allow the fish to spawn even just momentarily, the design, obviously again created by Il Mango, was to allow a small gap where fish could spawn. So all that's happening right now is you see the pistons are pushing back and forth, and within the brief time that it pushes forward, the bubble columns are no longer, and that allows a brief moment for all of the fish to spawn. So you can already see on that side, as I was a little bit further away, there's a whole bunch of them spawned, and then eventually when the bubble column does come back around again, it'll pull them back down into the magma blocks, kill them, and then again they are collected by the hopper mine carts. And if we go a little bit further up into an AFK spot here, and we will once again go back into a spectator mode, you should hopefully see some more spawns. So you can see a few happening over here, and yeah, not a huge amount of spawns right now. It does kind of back and forth on how well it does actually work with the mob spawning, but generally speaking, I've ran a few tests on this, and I've noticed I should be getting somewhere in and around the lines of like 250-ish pufferfish an hour, which doesn't actually sound like a lot, but when you consider the size and the fact that pufferfish, you don't really need to have a lot of pufferfish for my requirements, it should be more than enough for what I'm looking for. Now, in terms of the design, again, here you can see pretty straightforward. This is just running off of a simple clock, which is pushing an observer into the powered rails, which is then allowing the distance to move back and forth. The only real difference I think I made from the design from Il Mango in terms of the one that he actually ended up designing was the build height. So I think when I looked at the video that he showed his pufferfish farm on, it was something like 2 or 3 blocks higher than this one here. But after running a few tests, I actually found that it was less efficient to have the pufferfish kind of generate further up, like somewhere in and around here, because the time it took them to actually get down to the bottom and be killed was quite a bit longer, and that actually ended up taking up the fish mob cap, and just not allowing enough puffer or enough fish to spawn in that time. So it actually worked out significantly better. I think I ended up getting about 40 more pufferfish an hour by reducing the size and having it somewhere in and around this size. So overall, I think it was a good decision. It actually made things a lot easier to build as well. I did obviously also have the thought process of maybe I should make this a little bit bigger, but honestly speaking, 250 an hour is good enough. But AFK this for one whole day, that should cover my pufferfish needs for the eternity of my Let's Play. Because let's be honest, they're really only going to be useful for one thing, and that's going to be potion brewing. I'm not going to be using them for trading. Again, we're also getting a byproduct of tropical fish and stuff as well, which we're probably not going to be using, but good to have, I guess, for whatever reason. I'm sure maybe I'll end up using it for trading at some point or something, but as of right now, I think I'm pretty good with how things are looking right now with the rates. I would just like to mention as well, obviously, because it's not my design, just a modified version of Il Mango's or a recreation, I'm not going to be making like a full video or anything like that for it. So if you do decide that you want it, Feel free to follow my Discord. I am going to have this in the world download section in there as well, so feel free to go ahead and grab it. I'll either put a schematic or a world download itself in there, so feel free to jump in and grab one for yourself if you want it. But anyway, enough talk about the Pufferfish Farm. Let's go ahead and get into the time lapse of me building it up, and then we'll go and see how the rates actually turned out in the survival series. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. This is our Pufferfish Farm all done, ready to go. Well, I say ready to go, but actually realistically it's been ready to go, and I've actually been AFKing here for quite some time now. I did a good 12-hour AFK session, and we'll go through the results of what we gained from that 12 hours in a minute. But I thought it would be worth showing you guys a little something else. So I did realize that this Pufferfish Farm, or most farms, actually have a double use, which isn't all that useful other than for brewing, and even then probably not really all that useful anyway. So if you're aware, this little thing here is a phantom membrane farm. Essentially all you do is you stand right in the center of it like this. The phantoms will fly towards you. They kind of get stuck in the water stream a little bit, so they have a little bit of a struggle getting out, which gives you an opportunity to give them a few swipes and to gather some phantom membrane from them. Now, ideally, you want to make sure you've got a looting 3 sword, because that's the way that you want to go. Got to be careful going down. I don't have my elytra on me. So yeah, you want to be a little bit careful. You need looting 3 to make sure you're getting a good amount of phantom membrane out of this. Now, going over the results, we'll check the pufferfish in a second. But having a look at how much phantom membrane we got, I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. But this is from like 12 hours of AFKing, or like in and around 12 hours of AFKing, and you would hope you'd get a little bit more, but obviously, you know, I'm alright with it for now. I'll be honest, the slow falling potions I don't imagine are going to be one of the more used potions, but the idea is that even the not so used potions are ones that I want to kind of maybe have a good stockpile of. Kind of had them ready there, so I don't need to keep coming back and forth to farms like that. But like I said, this thing is actually really cheap and easy to build. It should only take you a couple minutes to build this thing. So I think the plan is to, like, if I AFK in another farm, I'm probably just going to go ahead and build a few of these everywhere I AFK, as long as it's in the overworld, of course. And yeah, it should just make my life a little bit easier. So I can AFK on one of these, grab like a good amount of phantom membrane in that time, and then hopefully whatever I'm getting from the other farm. So phantom membrane farm was obviously a secondary to the pufferfish farm. So what are we kind of looking at when it comes to the pufferfish? How much should we get? Well, keep in mind first of all that this is, though it's intended for pufferfish only, it does produce a secondary product, or it produces 2 secondary products, which is tropical fish and bone meal, both of which I find completely useless to myself, but oh well. So let's have a little look and see what we ended up with. Excellent, that's very good. That's great too. So I'm assuming most of these are full. That's my stuff. Yep. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, we cut off just there. Do we get any more? Okay, good. So, I mean, let's be honest, that's way more than I was hoping for or expecting. Considering, again, you know, as far as easy farms are concerned, Like, these two were built in the space of like 2 hours. Even that was probably a long time. I did mess up a couple bits here and there when I was doing stuff. If I came a bit better prepared, I probably would have done it in about an hour and 20. But, you know, there was a bit of a few stupidities and struggles here and there. You know, when you consider that this farm didn't take long, and as long as you've got the time to AFK, it generally is really good. So I would imagine, considering the situation, I'm pretty happy with what I ended up with. Now, the question here is, what do we do with all this tropical fish? Now, I had a little thought, which I'm not totally sold on. The idea was to set up a few fishermen over here that I can sell the pufferfish to for emeralds, but if I'm completely honest, I don't see that being the most efficient thing, especially when you consider that my plans for the near future are to destroy the end island and start building things there. One of them which would include a villager trading hall. So I don't know if I'm totally sold on that, and I don't think I'm going to be needing much emeralds after that anyway, so I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and probably just move most of the tropical fish away from here for now. In fact, what I'm probably going to do is just go ahead and grab all of the pufferfish that I'm going to need and take that back with me, because I think we should be good for pufferfish probably forever. I don't see myself needing like a crazy amount of it anytime soon. I mean, I need a good amount of it, but you know, let me do a quick roundup actually. Let me grab a shulker box and let me do a quick roundup and see how many we ended up with. Insane in the phantom membrane. Insane in the phantom membrane. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I may have underestimated the rates of this farm. I thought I was only supposed to get 500 an hour, which if I do the calculations correctly, now I'm kind of guessing the calculations on this side, so I'm gonna go ahead and wing this. Now, it was about 500 and I did that over 12 hours. So I should have got about 93 stacks, which is 2, 4, 6, 8. So I should have really only had like 4 shulker boxes of pufferfish, roughly, maybe 4.5. But I've actually got 6 entire boxes, plus I've got some in my inventory. And there's also some kind of stuck in the back of the systems of the hoppers. This ended up being a lot more powerful than I originally thought. Now, I'm not complaining about it, but also that's kind of crazy. Well, I'm going to go ahead and confidently say I'm probably never going to need to use this farm again, which is a little bit disappointing because when I make a farm, I want to use it a little bit more regularly. But if I've got 6 shulker boxes of pufferfish, unless I'm going to raid every ocean monument in the bloody place, I think I'm probably going to be all right. So I'm not totally sure what to do, but hey, I guess we are totally prepared for if the entire world floods? I don't know. Either way, successful haul on my side. I'm really happy with the results of this whole situation, and I am going to go ahead and gather all of this stuff into more shulker boxes. I'm probably going to need another shulker box if I'm honest, and I'm going to go ahead and take all this stuff and we're going to head over to the brewer and we're going to start topping up the brewer because we've actually got pretty much everything except for one thing, and that's the rabbit's foot for leaping. I don't really want to worry about making a farm for that. I'm probably just going to do some like side missions where I kind of go off, gather a bunch of rabbits and breed them and then just kind of quietly kill them on the side, because I don't think you guys want to see me executing tons of rabbits. So I'm going to go and take care of that business by myself. And yeah, so in the meantime, let's grab all the stuff. Let's head back to our brewing station and we'll take it from there. Right, so we're back here in the brewing station and we're getting a little bit closer to our goal of having all of the brewable materials. There is some things that have come to light since I've started this that I didn't totally think of. Number one was I should have spent more time AFKing at my mushroom farm because I definitely didn't have enough fermented spider eye materials to get this thing going. You see, this is barely full. It's still trying to fill up the droppers and the hoppers in the back. And the same goes for this one. There's also one more needed, I think, right here. That should also be fermented spider eyes. And I've run out of brown mushrooms. I've got sugar and I've got normal spider eyes, just not enough brown mushrooms. So that's something I'm going to need to AFK at and keep in mind. And the rest of it is pretty much looking good. I think I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon potentially working on getting the rabbit's foot. I do need the blaze powder as well, which I actually need to make sure I've got for the brewing system itself. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys a quick update that I'm going to be probably doing some AFKing for some brown mushrooms. But I have got some fermented spider eyes made up as well from the little store that we did have. And yeah, so things are looking good, moving along a little bit. I'm going to go and trade for some glistening melons and some golden carrots because they're fairly easy to get done. And yeah, hopefully we can pick up again after that once I've made a decision. Anyway, I think that's time for us to wrap up the episode for today. I think we've gone through enough of the stuff. Obviously, this is a ending, which I'm probably recording a little bit after the end of the last video, so there has been some extra work that's gone on, including the extra bits in the brewery that I've been working on, but we'll get back to that to the next episode, because potentially I want to work on the Blaze Farm the next episode. Now, this is potential, so I'm not 100% sure that's going to be the case, but we'll try and aim for it anyway. And in the meantime, obviously, if you did end up enjoying the video, make sure you hit the like, consider subscribing, tell your grandma, your cousin that you hate a lot, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!